Welcome to Paranormal Almanac with your host, Kurt Sandvik.
That's right. I'm your host, Kurt Sandvik, and on this week's special holiday edition, why is it holiday edition? I don't know. It's December. Just let me go with it. Of Paranormal Almanac, let's get back to cryptids, damn it. But first, as always, we've got shout-outs. I've got a brand new mic stand, which I'm very excited about, but I also don't, I've not used it before. So, there we go. Come on, go back to there. There we go. There we are. Yeah, got a brand new mic stand that'll actually, hold up a microphone because, I'm crazy like that. For some reason, I want a mic stand that a mic can stand on. So, I got a brand new mic stand, so it's now perfect. There's not going to be any weird, all of a sudden the microphone goes, sliding over and I slowly fade out like this. But nope, none of that's going to happen. So let's do some shout-outs. Let's get right into this episode because I got a lot to get to. Shout-outs going out to Newt MacGyver, my third favorite MacGyver. The MacGyver, obviously. And then They Might Be Giants getting MacGyver on it. So, Newt, you're in good company is what I'm saying. Brandon, shout-out to Brandon. Travis, Avril, Loch Ness, not a monster. Stacy, Demolition Diva, Leviathan, The Wicked One, Ilsaid, Brian, Heather G's, Jeffrey B., Scott, Johnny the Pommy, hey howdy hi. Matt, JT, Doogie Whore, Mike G, Tracy B, Ryden, Jeff, Wayne, Richard, Charles. Hold on, something's not right. Something's not right. There we go, that's much better. I'm just going to continue on from where I was. Let's see. Brian, Heather G's, Jeffrey B, Johnny the Pommy, I think I said that already. J2, Doogie Whore, Mike G, Tracy B, Jeff, Richard, Lori, Alec, Karen, Duran, Lori, Rebecca, and Steven, Cher, Jane Ann, Jennifer, Heather G, your friendly neighborhood skinwalker, Zuzus, what's it? Nico, Cher, and the Mouse. Andrew M, Mark and Tina, Tortuga, Mike from Jersey, JB, Andy, Tracy, hey howdy hi, Virginia Mailman, Tony the Magician, Jason, Vicky, Crow, Libido Works, Isabel, Jen, Amber, Tracy, Kelly Joe, Menace the Beast, Kick-Ass Magic Robot Webcomic. Hey, you know what? You know what's a good Christmas gift or holiday gift? Go to Kick-Ass Magic Robot Webcomic. Speaking of, let me pause right here. I'm going to put it in the middle of shout-outs so people that skip ahead won't know it. Patrons and paramaniacs alike, if you're hearing my voice right now, that's you I'm talking to. If you have something like on Etsy, you create something like a Kick-Ass Magic Robot Webcomic, let me know by next... Let me know now. Immediately email me at paranormalalmanac@gmail.com. Because the next regular episode, I want to have every ad paramaniac or patron promoted content. So if you make something, I don't care, if OnlyFans, whatever. If you make something, if you're a content creator of any kind, let me know. The next episode, I'm going to start promoting the hell out of you guys. Sandy, Paige, Couch, Scott, Andrea, Melody, Vanessa, Marisol, Becca, Jake, Charlotte, and the Beasties. If I was the devil... Elizabeth, Sherry, hey howdy hi, Art Muffin, Tim, hey howdy hi, Kenneth, Alexandra, George, Joseph the Demon, Hayden, Cindy, Ashley, Robin, Will, Lauren, Russell, Isabel, Audra, Dorian, Cindy, Paula, Jerry, Jeff T, Joe, Lawrence, Melissa, the Lawrence Strawn, pausing right here. Oh no, I'm going to do a special shout out to her. Veronica Autumn, J. Mark Carolyn, Nanashi, Todd, Jamie, and Elijah Hendrickson, Dan, Laura Pitts, and the one, the only Gamer Fan. With 3 special shout-outs. Obviously to Joe Teague. Miss you, buddy. Your birthday's coming up this week. And to Stitch, my boy. But I've got another special shout-out to the Lauren Strawn, who sent me possibly the coolest shirt. I'm wearing it right now, as a matter of fact. the coolest shirt I have seen. Oh, I knocked stuff over. Hold on a second. I got too excited. Hold on. I'm making a mess. Wait a second. Okay, I was making a mess. The coolest shirt I've ever seen. It is me and Rum with, whoops, we got Mothman. What's over here? There's Bigfoot. There's a ghost. There's an alien. Oh, there's Nessie, not a monster. And you know what? What's even more special is she covered up Rum's junk. You know, you didn't want to have like a spread eagle Rum on there, so she covered up Rum's junk. She's wearing the cute little pink shorts, and I'm wearing red shorts. Yeah, you know it's just an amazingly cool shirt. It's got my watch on there. I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt. I'm wearing flip flops, which I've never ever owned a pair of flip flops, but that's okay. That's on me. We're standing in front of a freaking tiki bar, and it says Paranormal Almanac on the top. This shirt is freaking. Oh, and I didn't even notice that. Bigfoot covering up his junk, and the alien covering up his junk. This is a junk covered up, amazingly Paranormal Almanac cryptid shirt that the Lauren Strong was nice enough to send me. I absolutely love it. I wore it today to a thing called Geeky Tees in Burbank. If you're ever in Burbank, head on over to Geeky Tees. It's an amazing store. I know I've talked about it in the past, but it's everything like tabletop, role-playing tabletop, you know, game store, basically. They got tons of cool dice. Like the best, like every time I go there, I'm like, I don't need any more D&D dice. Ooh, look at these. I need those. Like that kind of a store. Just run by the most wonderful friend of mine ever, Donna. So check out Geeky Tees if you're in Burbank. But I was wearing it to Geeky Tees today because they had a maker fair today for, you know, if you make your own stuff, you can go down there and, you know, buy it from them. And so I was wearing the shirt, and well, I'll name drop. It's fine. Todd Stashwick. You guys know who Todd Stashwick is? He's from Picard. He was also in Supernatural. He's been in tons of stuff. He's a fantastic actor and a very, very cool guy. I've met him a few times through my friend Donna, my friend Elisa, and my friend Sean Bishop, the Sean Bishop. But Todd Stashwick was there today, and I was like, "Hey, buddy, how are you?" And he's like, "Hey, good." He's like, "What are you wearing, man?" He's like, "Is that?" He mentioned some comic book or something, and I was like, "What? No." And I looked down. I'm like, "Oh no, it's actually me. That's me. It's Paranormal Almanac." And he's like, "Oh, wearing your own merch." I'm like, "You know what? You got to represent. You know, I don't care. It's cool." He's the nicest guy in the world. So thank you so much. I guess there's a long way of getting around to thanking the Lauren Strong. I also got a wonderful card from I got a couple of wonderful holiday cards. You guys are the best to make me feel wanted and needed. Stephen Scher and Nico Scher, they're very sweet. But I've gotten a few cards, people worried about me, and I can't thank you enough for the worry and concern. Don't worry. Something's going to give. Something's going to happen. I'll find a place. Not yet. I haven't yet, but I'll find a place. Something's going to happen. I found a couple cool ones, but I just need, what's it called? Money. That's what I need. I need money because I am poor. But don't worry. I'll find a place. I'll land on my feet. I always do. I have up until this point, so I can only assume. Speaking of Burbank and fairs, I got another name-dropping story that's just too good not to share with you guys before I get into paranormal news. I was over at this Burbank Makers Fair kind of a thing because, you know, it's the holidays, so everybody's doing that. And I was walking down the San Fernando Boulevard, the main strip. They had it closed off for all these little booths and everything. I got some amazing hot sauce. I got some amazing blueberry muffins. But I'm standing there watching this guy, no joke, on like what had to be like a 20-foot unicycle. And instead of a seat, I'll throw a photo up in the Facebook fan page. Instead of a seat, it was a unicorn, like a stuffed animal unicorn kind of a thing. So he's basically riding a unicorn like 20 feet up in the air. And so we're all watching him, and it's incredible. It was a fun show. And this kid comes running up to get up front, so he runs in front of me, and I didn't trip him because I'm a nice person. So I was like, yeah, go for it. Sit in front of me. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't have tripped him. And I hear his mom go like, oh, not too far. And I look over just to like make sure his mom can see him kind of a thing, like stay out of her way. And it's Georgia Hardstark. Now, if you don't know that name, she is from My Favorite Murder. She's wonderful, very talented. Look, you guys have heard me try to do like true crime, paranormal with a paranormal twist on this episode, and I can't do it funny because, you know, it's about people dying, and that's always in the back of my brain is like, this is a real person that died, man. Like, you know, I'll make fun. As you know, I'm no stranger to making inappropriate jokes, but she does it so well and with respect and seamlessly. And I was like, oh, that's freaking cool. So I took like a half step back to talk to my neighbor. She was there as well. And my neighbor was like, I'm going to go over here. I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm like, hold on a second. And I just went to Georgia. I was like, hey, I love your work. I didn't want to bother her. You know, if you ever listen to My Favorite Murder, they're very big on like, you know, guys, give women space. Don't bother women. So it's very in my mind, right? So I was like, you know, I love your work. And that was it. Like, oh God, I'm not a creeper. I'm fine. And she's like, oh, thank you so much. And I was like, yeah, cool. And then I went to go walk away with my neighbor, and she was like, oh, I'm Georgia, by the way. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm Kurt. Again, love your work. You're fantastic. I didn't want to bother you. I know you're here with your kid. Enjoy. But she was wonderful. I'm terrible at it. I should have said, hey, I do a paranormal podcast. You like ghosts and stuff, and maybe I'll reach out to her sometime. Would you like to be on my podcast? But I don't do that. I just went, yeah, you're cool, and I walked away. But you know what? That's the fun of living in Burbank is, you know, you never know who you're going to bump into. I mean, that's been my entire life. But anyhow, we got to get over to paranormal news. Oh, I got a new paranormal news song. Someone sent it to me. I can't think of it off the top of my head. All right, that'll be next week. For right now, let's just get right on into paranormal news.
There's something in here. What was that? It's time for paranormal news.
Yeah, it is. All righty. The first story in paranormal news. Let's see if there's any UFO stories in the news right now. Hold on, let me check. No, nothing. Shockingly, there hasn't been one UFO story in the news this week or this month or this year. Look, I could do the entire paranormal news about what's been happening in the news right now. And if you're not aware of what's been happening with UFOs in the news right now, and I mean right now, literally right now, I'm not talking about the congressional hearings, none of that nonsense. I'm talking like literally right now. If you're not aware, well, you're going to have to wait because that's the next episode that I'm recording just after this one today. I'm going to record a full episode all about the insanity of UFOs that's happening literally as I speak. But it is for patrons only. I was nice enough to give, well, they were nice enough. I didn't have any say in it. I just gave them the poll, and they chose to give that last Thanksgiving bonus episode to everybody. Well, this one is just for the patrons. So if you're a patron, it'll be out very soon. I'll announce it. You can go and listen to it, but I got to record it after I record and edit this episode so I can get this episode out to everybody. Also, if you're a patron, I sent the dumbest song in the world, the video of which is just for the patrons. That music video, just for the patrons. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, go ahead and check that out. The song itself is out there in the world to be found. But the music video was just for the patrons. And I'm sorry. But the first story in paranormal news is Pope Francis will be opening 5 sacred portals for a special Catholic ritual on Christmas Eve. Kurt here. Before I even begin, how about you don't? Like, before I tell you anything about the story and read what about, how about you don't? How about we let just everybody, here's the deal. No one says next year's going to be my year. 25 is going to be so much better than 2024. Shut up. Everybody just shut up. Let's just quietly go into 2025. Don't make a big deal out of it. When the ball drops at midnight, don't do one of those like, yay, woohoo, poppers, none of that shit. Just go like, all right, cool, thank you. Yeah, all right, 2025, let's do this. Be kind, be nice. Let's all just sneak into 2025. But here we go. If you're not aware, a Jubilee year is right around the corner. Kurt here. What the fuck is a Jubilee year? Hold on. Oh, it's the next sentence. The Catholic Church has a year Jubilee once every 25 years, and randomly in 2016, when Pope Francis decided to call for an emergency Jubilee, because he felt the church was in desperate need of one and couldn't wait until 2025. Look, 2016 is when all this shit started going bad. It's just your fucking fault, dude. I'll keep going. A Jubilee year in the Catholic Church is basically one long Mardi Gras. Kurt here, I'm assuming with way less tits. Or I don't know, maybe not. Maybe a Jubilee is just a bunch of nuns flashing boobies to get necklaces. If so, sign me up. I want to see that. Roman Catholics take the entire year off work. What? How do I become a Roman Catholic right now? Like today? Who do I got to blow? The Pope? I'll do it. So I can take a whole year off? Do I get paid? They dress up in bright festive costumes, drink wine, and be merry every day from dusk till dawn. Never mind. That's too much work. I can't. I don't drink wine. If it was rum or tiki drinks, maybe. But be merry every day from dusk till dawn? I can't even make it till dusk. Like dusk, I'll wake up and I'll say, oh, I'm in a shitty mood. I don't want to go see people. And boom, I'm out. Never mind. Parades are in abundance. Women of all ages flash their tits in the name. What is happening? What website is this? It literally says women of all ages flash their tits in the name of Jesus. Every man is assigned their own personal holy boy. This can't be real. Oh, okay. Who wrote this? Because it says, not really. John Rich, you suck, dude. Not really. But with a name like Jubilee, they should spice up what it actually is, which is a year for remissions of sins, debts, and universal pardon. Yeah, see, that sounds more like the Catholic Church. You dick. You got me all excited about stuff. During the year, specific days will mark Jubilees for certain groups of people. There could be a Jubilee for volunteers, priests, prisoners, dead people, but perhaps the most exciting part of the Jubilee year is the opening of the sacred portals. Some refer to them as the holy doors. Pope Francis will open these portals during a ceremony that would... all right, you know what? I got to find a different news article. This dude's... he's taken more licensing than I take on stories. Like, he's saying it's going to make it like a sick album cover. I'm not reading that. Fuck you. I'm not reading that. There's a billion websites. Here we go. New York Post can't be that bad. All right, scratch all of that. Starting on July 24th, the Pope will open a series of 5 holy doors throughout the Vatican, including St. Peter's Basilica, plus Rome's 3 other basilicas to commence next year's Catholic Church Jubilee. The door at St. Peter's was sealed shut by a wall of bricks since the Jubilee year of Divine Mercy in 2016, and on December 2nd, those were ripped down to ready the door for opening as part of the rite of recognition. This is weird as shit, man. After that Christmas Eve ritual, Pope Francis will open a symbolic door inside the Roman prison Rebibbia on December 28th. December 26th, the Feast of St. Stephen. It'll be the first time a pope has opened a holy door at a prison. I think of prisoners who, deprived of freedom, daily feel the harshness of detention and its restrictions, lack of affections, and in more than a few cases, lack of respect. The objective of opening doors later this month is to usher in a year renewed in hope as Christians find Christ at the door of our salvation. All right, so it's not as scary as it made it sound like, these doors were never opened and shouldn't be opened, and if you open it, the devil is going to come out. This seems way more bland, and I should have gone back to that other guy's news story. All right, I'm not as afraid as I once was. So let's go to the next news story. For the next news story, we go to... archaeologists have uncovered a stone sarcophagus at St. Nicholas Church in Turkey. They believe it may be the final resting place of St. Nicholas of Myra, the 4th century bishop whose generosity inspired Santa Claus. Hold on. Oh, I don't have it up anymore. I had a Christmas soundboard. I was going to do like, Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. But the limestone coffin, measuring approximately 6 feet in length and buried about 6 feet underground, was found during an ongoing excavation in 1989, but its significance was officially announced on December 7th, 2024. Wow, taking your time to announce that one. Look, I dig up the grave of Santa Claus. I'm telling everybody in 1989. I'm not waiting for 2024 and be like, oh, and by the way, I don't know if I ever told you, but in 1989, I discovered Santa Claus's grave. He's dead, kids. That's some funky shit right there. All righty, let's move on to the next story in paranormal news. It's a Nessie story, peoples. That's right. We got a Nessie sighting. Loch Ness Monster, not a monster, breakthrough could finally solve the mystery. All right. Simmer down. An expert thinks he could hold the answers to a series of sightings and potentially solve the Nessie mystery for good. The earliest recordings, we already know about that. Don't care. Yep, Nessie found it. Yep. However, Alan McKenna has dedicated himself to unlocking the case of Nessie since he was a child and since gone to become the founder of the Loch Ness Exploration Group. He believes he figured out the real reason behind why there's been so many unconfirmed sightings over the year. After all, someone who spends their days using drones and hydrophones to record underwater activity can't be too far off. He said that he believes the trail of water boats leave behind them could be at the heart of the process of elimination. When two boats' wakes finally meet and interfere with another, the results of the potential to create a standing wave. It's a ripple effect that some people see, mistaking for the humps of the monster. Well, maybe. I mean, how about you don't debunk Nessie, though? We've had many potential candidates over the year for Nessie, such as giant eels, long-necked seals, Greenland shark, lake sturgeon, catfish, and many others, but the truth be told, none of us have the correct answer, and that's what keeps this mystery going. An Irish monk. Oh, I'm going to save that because that's going to be in the actual episode in just a minute. Yeah, all right. Well, how about we don't debunk Nessie in 2025 because Kurt needs some Nessie. And I don't think you could debunk it. Nessie, not a monster. Up next in paranormal news, Google says it appears to have accessed parallel universes. Yeah, in one of the 5 portals or whatever the hell that thing was called. Look, this is scary. This is real. They unveiled a new quantum computer chip that was dubbed Willow, which, on a specific benchmark at least, the company says can outperform any supercomputer in the world. Willow's performance on this benchmark is astounding, according to Google quantum AI founder Harmit Nevin, who wrote in a blog post announcing the chip. It performed a computation in under 5 minutes that would take one of today's fastest supercomputers 10 to the 25th power, or 10 septillion years. This mind-boggling number exceeds known timescales in physics and vastly exceeds the age of the universe. It lends credence to the notion that the quantum computation occurs in many parallel universes, in line with the idea that we live in a multiverse. So it's kind of like every U.S. government release about UFOs. They kind of slip it in at the end and be like, oh, and by the way, many parallel universes. Anyhow, so yeah. Unexpected to them, it went so much faster that they feel that the quantum computer's calculations must take place across multiple universes at the same time. That's terrifying. I mean, it's cool. Like the part of like parallel universes has kind of been proven by science now. Even though it's always been suspected by science, kind of been proven by science now. But should we be building this supercomputer that is that fast, that's working in multiple universes? That's not going to end well for us. Remember, 2025. Let's chill out. Let's keep it to ourselves. Be cool. Up next, a secret Pentagon study hints at reincarnation being real after finding consciousness never dies. That's right. A study conducted by U.S. Army intelligence has suggested that reincarnation is real because consciousness never dies. Entitled Analysis and Assessment of the Gateway Process, it's a 29-page report drafted by the U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Wayne M. McDonnell in 1983, but declassified in 2003 and has finally surfaced online. It resurfaced on social media. Let's see. We're pretty sure reincarnation is real. Consciousness is energy, and it exists outside of our understanding of reality. And energy, quote, never dies. That is cool. It was part of the Gateway Experience, or the Gateway Project. It was a training system designed to bring enhanced strength, focus, and coherence to alter consciousness. And you know that if this stuff was finally, declassified, they've still been working on this stuff. What do they know now that we won't find out for another 20 years? It's terrifying. They said that the Monroe Institute, which I've talked about before, a guest that I had on my show, that I probably won't have on my show ever again, went to the Monroe Institute. It was really interesting, and I really wanted to go to it. But the Monroe Institute says that when consciousness returns to the absolute, that is the Monroe jargon for a realm outside space-time, it brings with it all its memories it has accumulated through the experience in reality. So that would explain the whole like reincarnation where kids all of a sudden remember that they were on the Titanic or whatever, or were a pilot in World War II, and they slowly fade out. They're bringing it with them, but then they're focusing on the now instead of on the past. That is really cool. The fact that the government has spent that much money and determined that, yeah, it's real, that is very telling. Let's see. You're pretty sure reincarnation is a legit thing? Yep. Many of the cases involve children under the age of 5, like I was just talking about, who claim to remember memories of a previous life they claim to have lived. Why the kids? It seems they're the ones that at most easily remember their past lives. But the Gateway study explored more than simply a spiritual question, but the nature of consciousness and the afterlife. Basically, what they're trying to do is they're trying to say, can we get other people, older people, to remember or learn how to access their past lives? That'd be cool. I kind of am very curious to find out what I was in my past life, but I don't want to go to a psychic, like verified psychic at the corner of whatever street, like one of those psychics, because every time they talk about a past life, they were like, oh yeah, you were Napoleon in a past life, or Cleopatra. They weren't like, oh yeah, you used to clean up horse shit for your entire life. When anything happened, all you did was clean up horse shit. Like, there's got to be people that did nothing, or you wasted your life. You were just an idiot, You got kicked in the head by a donkey when you were born, and you're just an idiot your entire life. You did nothing. No, they always say you're Cleopatra. But I'd like to know my real past life. And it goes on to talk about Joe McMoneagle, who, again, I've talked about on a previous episode with a guest. Remote viewing. And is the remote viewing, is that part of this? Is it part of past lives? Is it part of, opening up that connection so you can see everything from beginning to end? Yeah, possibly. That is cool. I like it when it's declassified and then like 20 years later, they're like, oh yeah, no, totally. That's real. All right, this next story, I actually have to open up in 2 different stories because it is in a different language. I think it's in Spanish. Let's see. Un video capturan a supuesto fantasma entre sus decoraciones de Navidad. Or, the security camera captures Christmas decorations come to life. That's right. A security camera footage from Mexico appears to show a Christmas decoration come to life in the middle of the night. According to the report, it was captured last month in the home of a woman who subsequently uploaded the odd video to TikTok. It cuts to the home security at around 3 a.m. when the security camera, seemingly triggered by the snowman figurine, suddenly coming to life and slowly walking away from its companions. I've been dying to watch this. Hold on, I got to make this big. I've been dying to watch this. I know it's been like a week or so since I've done an episode. I've had this for over a week, and I've not touched it, and I've been dying to watch this video. So here we go. All right. We get security camera. It's a house. November 29th, 2024. Oh, what the crap? Hold on. I got to back it up already. Wait, what happened? Back up. There we go. Keep going back. Nope, keep going back. Nope, it's still moving. Keep going back. Hold on. Now I know where to look on this thing. So it's security camera footage. I'll throw it up on the Facebook fan page before I say if it's real or fake. But of a Christmas tree, and there is something under the Christmas tree with like a elf hat or lawn gnome hat, and it does seem. What the hell? I mean, it does seem to be walking away. Now it's slowly rotating. Oh, it is like a snowman with like some kind of like lawn gnome hat. Shut up, lady. I'm trying to watch it. All right, I'm going to mute this. All right, let's do this again. Camera 2 starts moving. Yeah, it kind of just waddles across the floor like it's walking. It's not the clearest video. It's not the best angle. Do I ever see the bottom of the snowman? No, you never see the bottom of the snowman. So somebody could be just off camera and walk. Oh, okay. Now they're showing what the snowman. Hold on. I got to pause that. Hold on. I want to see that again. They're showing what the snowman looks like about halfway through. It's a snowman, a Santa Claus thing, and a reindeer thing that are kind of up against the wall with like dangly legs. But again, if someone's just off camera, playing devil's advocate, if someone's just off camera and they do it just right, that snowman would be able to walk like that. And because you never see its legs, you never see the bottom half of it. And it does stay towards the bottom of the screen before slowly rotating around. Yeah, I don't know. I'll throw it up on the Facebook fan page. Tell me what you guys think. I do think, though, that if you're just off camera, stop. If you're just off camera, you could do this. I'm trying to see if anybody else agrees. No. Why are the videos super blurry? Yeah, I agree. I think it's a gnome. Sure, why not? I mean, it looks kind of like a gnome. Now no one's saying this is BS. I mean, there's a couple people say it looks fake, but there's no one else saying that I think that it's somebody moving it from the bottom of the screen. That's what I think is happening. Tell me what you guys think. It'll be on the Facebook fan page. It's weird. It's cool. I like it. But that about does it for paranormal news. Head on over to tpublic.com/stores/paranormal-almanac for all your official Paranormal Almanac merch. And trust me, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of new fun stuff. So buy some merch for holidays. You won't get it in time because it's way too late. It's only, 11 days till Christmas? But who cares? Just be an after Christmas gift. Everybody needs it is what I'm saying. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Paranormal Almanac. We are back. Now, in this edition, I wanted to get back to cryptids. Like I was saying, if you were paying attention at the very beginning, UFOs have kind of dominated the news cycle. And like I said, I'm going to do a full patron episode right after I record this episode, all about this UFO phenomena that's been going on for months now. It's literally getting weirder by the minute. But like I said, unlike the Thanksgiving bonus episode, that's just for the patrons. So let's focus on this episode, which is for everybody. Cryptids. I must have talked about them all by now, right? No, not even remotely. In fact, on this episode, I want to only talk about cryptids that have hurt or killed people. And surprisingly, or maybe not, I was kind of surprised, there's a lot of cryptids that are just out for blood, out for human blood. Sure, I always talk about, like Bigfoot, but for the most part, Bigfoot only hurts or kills people when they try to hurt or shoot Bigfoot. Kurt here, don't fucking shoot Bigfoot. So no, Bigfoot won't be mentioned on this episode, except for what I literally just said a second ago, obviously. But I do want to talk about another cryptid that I talk about a lot. And that's Nessie. Look, the very supposed first Nessie story is her hurting or killing some dickhead monk or whatever. So let me get that one out of the way right now. But Kurt here, considering she's never hurt or killed anyone since, I'm going to say this is a smear campaign on the best not a monster out there. But here we go. For this one, which button is it? Is this one? There we go. We go way back, way back to August 22nd, 565. That's right. It's already too long to have an accurate retelling of the story. But if that's not bad enough, sure, it happened on August 22nd, 565, but it was first written about by biographer Saint Adamans, Adamans? Doesn't care. He's dead. Book called The Life of Saint Columba in the 7th century. So, the 7th century, this dude writes the book. That's 135 years after it happened, but sure, let's take this at face value. Let's just assume that this story didn't get embellished in the 135 years since its first telling. Here's the story. There's an Irish monk. His name is Saint Columba. At that time, he wasn't St. Columba. He was just Columba. He became a saint after he died, but roll with me. Now, he was an Irish abbot, a missionary, and a scholar who helped spread the word of Christianity in Scotland. It's said that while standing upon the banks of the River Ness, which flows out of Loch Ness in northern Scotland, he was trying to figure out the best way to cross it. Kurt here, get yourself a fucking boat, dude. Anyhow, while he said, so I was, walking up and down the banks going like, gee, how do I cross this river? He comes across a group of, quote, heathenist Picts, Picts. And I wanted to look this up before I started the story, and it just dawned on me I didn't. I want to find out what the hell a Pict is and how racist it is. The Picts were a group of people in what is now Scotland's north of the Firth or Forth in the early Middle Ages. Let's see. It's not a lot about them. They look cool. They got a lot of cool tattoos, man. These guys are rocking. They're, for some reason, a lot of them are blue. The name Pict appears in written record as an exonym from the late 3rd century. They are assumed to have been descendants of the Caledoni and the Northern Iron Age tribes. Okay, so apparently it is not racist to say the word Pict. I like that. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't being a dick there. Being a dick about the Pict. Alrighty, so he sees these heathen Picts who are like all tatted out and only wearing like a loincloth, even though it's like northern Scotland and it's got to be cold as fuck. But they were burying a friend that had been attacked by, quote, an enormous water beast while he was out swimming in the river. And here's when I say bullshit time. Huge grain of salt time. But apparently, so Columbo walks up. They're busy like burying their friend. And he's like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, instead of being like, hey, feck off, we're burying our friend. They're going like, oh, here's what happened. Crazy weird, huh? And he goes, okay, sure, yeah, I got it, okay. And he laid his staff across the dead man's chest, and miraculously, the man stood up. Quote, hale and hearty. Then what happened to the zombie he just resurrected, you might be asking? Kurt here, no idea. Because they don't bring up the dead guy he just resurrected, and the story just cuts to, against common sense, Columba ordered brother Lune Mokamin, sure, why not, one of his fellow monks, to swim across the loch and bring back a small boat known as a kobold, which was moored on the opposite shore. So there was a boat. It was right over there on the other side. So, yeah, instead of him, who just, resurrected the dead, he goes, hey, Lune, why don't you swim across that water? The water where these dudes just said something huge just ate their friend and killed him. That guy that I just resurrected? That zombie that is off killing people probably because they never talk about him again. So I'm assuming he's off being a zombie. Loon, go swimming. So it says that Loon strips off his tunic and immediately jumped in the water. When, of course, Nessie, kind of like an alligator, hears the naked Loon splashing about as he swam across the river, and jumps out of the water, roars, and makes a beeline for him. So he's within striking distance of the naked monk when everyone on the shore starts shouting and crying to warn Loon, he was about to be like Nessie lunch, all except Columba, who just goes, all right, cool. He steps forward. This guy's a cool cat. So far, dead guy, all right, cool. Killed by a water monster, all right, cool. Well, he's back to life. Now you go swimming. All right, cool. A water monster. So he's like, all right, cool. He steps forward to the edge of the loch. He makes the sign of the cross while invoking the name of the Lord. And he spoke in a commanding voice, apparently saying, you will go no further. Do not touch the man. Leave at once. It's written that even though the monster, Kurt here, not a monster, was no more than a spear's length away from the swimming monk, at the sound of the now saint's words, it stops and immediately fled the scene terrified. The monster moved, quote, more quickly than it had just been pulled back with ropes. Bullshit. No. So what, Nessie is like a vampire or a demon that flees at the name of the Lord? Why? Why is that a thing? And you might be going, well, that's because Aleister Crowley, he made it. Aleister Crowley wasn't around in 500. This is pre Aleister Crowley, the guy that supposedly brought the demon to life, which is a monster. No. So all of the men who were Picts, remind you, they're all, kind of naked with tattoos. They all gave glory to the God of the Christians and converted on the spot, being baptized in the very waters of the River Ness. All right, here's some more about St. Columba, the patron saint of making Nessies fuck off, apparently. It's written that Columba prophesied regularly and cured the sick, disabled, and the lame. Once, when he didn't have wine for Mass, he miraculously changed water into wine. He produced water from a rock, calmed storms at sea, conversed liberally with the angels, subdued savage beasts like boars and serpents, provided several fishermen with bounteous catches of fish, sure, why not, and brought peace to warring factions. He multiplied a herd of cattle to the joy of the herd's owner, exorcised demons without batting an eye. Divine light seemed to follow him wherever he went. Walked on water. I mean, this guy is just right out of Jesus' playbook. Look, I don't want to bash a patron saint of Ireland, but I'm gonna. No, I don't. I just don't think that Nessie killed anyone or was about to until he heard Columba say the Lord's name. Also, if you think of that, so Nessie fled from the Lord's name. Then why did Nessie continue to live in the loch that was just blessed by Columba? Wouldn't he have turned into like he turned the loch into holy water, basically, when he blessed it for those dudes, for those Picts. So all of the loch is holy water. If Nessie's evil, shouldn't have Nessie boiled alive or, started flopping away on land or something? So, yeah. No. Sure, fine, Nessie's the first killer cryptid on this episode, but I'm going to say no. And, maybe those Pict dudes, they did something to Nessie. Because, look, why has Nessie never killed anyone ever since? And there's a lot of people out there just being dicks and splashing around in the loch. You telling me that Nessie's never had the opportunity to kill somebody else? Or was like St. Columba made Nessie, like when he blessed the waters for those dudes, then Nessie got blessed and now Nessie's a Christian and doesn't want to kill people? I don't know. I don't buy it. But let's move on to some others because we got to keep this episode going. Let's go to the Black Shuck, also known as Old Shuck, or simply Shuck. These are the many names given to a ghostly black dog, which is said to roam the coastline and the countryside of East Anglia in the UK. Now, the name Shuck, it derives from the Old English word shucka, which means devil or fiend, or perhaps from the root shkoo, to terrify. Now, the first mention in print of Black Shuck is by Reverend E.S. Taylor in an 1850 edition of the Journal Notes, which describes Shuck the dog fiend. The phantom I have heard many persons in East Norfolk and even Cambridgeshire describing as having seen a black shaggy dog with fiery eyes and of immense size who visits churchyards at midnight. All right, Kurt here. So far, it just seems like a big old black dog. And like Nessie, I'm going to say is not a monster. But let's continue. So, the earliest known description of the devilish black hound is an account of an incident in the Peterborough Abbey recorded by the Peterborough Chronicle, or, depending where you get your info, the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, all around 1127. So it goes way, way back. It goes from 1850 all the way back to 1127, when it says, "Let no one be surprised at the truth of what we're about to relate, for it was common knowledge throughout the whole country that immediately after Abbot Henry of Poitiers' arrival at Peterborough Abbey, it was the Sunday when they sing Exerch Choir, many men both saw and heard a great number of huntsmen hunting. The huntsmen were black, huge and hideous, and rode on black horses, and on the black he-goats, and on the hounds were jet black with eyes like saucers and horrible. This was seen in the very deer park of the town of Peterborough and in all the woods that stretched from that same town to Stamford and in the night the monks heard them sounding and winding their horns. Reliable witnesses who kept watch in the night declared that might be as many as 20 or 30 of them winding their horns as near they could tell. This was seen and heard from the time of his arrival all through Lent and right up to Easter. So far, big black dogs running around with big black huntsmen, and I don't think they mean like African American. I think they mean black, like black skin, black eyes, huge coal eyes, huge big people riding big horses. But so far, yeah, the people sound kind of scary and evil, but the dogs aren't doing anything. They're just running around while the guys are blowing off their horns. So yeah, dogs running with evil people. Still a good boy. So let's continue. The descriptions of Black Shuck vary in both shape and size, from that of a large dog to that being the size of a calf or a horse. And this is according to W.A. Dutt in his 1901 Highways and Byways in East Anglia. He describes them as, he takes the form of a huge black dog and prowls along dark lanes and lonesome field footpaths where, although his howling makes the hearer's blood run cold, his footfalls make no sound. You may know him at once, should you see him, by his fiery eyes, but he has one, like that of a cyclops, in the middle of his head. All right, you guys kind of buried the lead on that one. Sure, it's a big black dog, but a big black cyclops dog with big fiery one eye? All right. He goes on to say, but such an encounter might bring you the worst of luck. It is said that to meet him is to be warned that your death will occur before the end of the year. So you will do well to shut your eyes if you hear him howling. Shut them even if you're uncertain whether it's the dog fiend or the voice of the wind you hear. Should you never set eyes on our Norfolk Snarleyow, you may perhaps doubt his existence, but like other learned folks, tell us that the story is nothing but old Scandinavian myth of the Black Hound of Odin. Okay, I get what he's saying. So what he's saying is, like, look, these things have been around forever. You can hear other people talking, like learned people talking about it. They refer to this shook as the Black Hound of Odin, brought to us by the Vikings who long ago settled on the Norfolk coast. So this thing's been around forever is basically what he's saying. But it's also the first mention of the fact that it's a cyclops. So it sounds, again, like a one-eyed dog. And not only that, it sounds like a one-eyed dog that's warning you when you're going to die soon. So, take better care, go see a doctor or something. Still a one-eyed good boy. Not a monster yet. Let's keep going. One of the most notable reports of Black Shuck is his appearance at the churches of Bungay and Blytheburg in Suffolk. This happened, we go all the way back to August 4th, 1577. That's when Black Shuck is known to have burst in through the doors of the Holy Trinity Church during a clap of thunder. He ran up to the nave, past a large congregation, killing a man and a boy, and causing the church steeple to collapse through the roof. As the dog left, he left scorch marks on the north door, which can be seen at the church to this day, and it was written about in a verse like this. All down the church in the midst of fire, the hellish monster flew, and passing onward to the choir, he many people slew. That sounds like the kind of rhyming I do in songs. It's not very good. It then suddenly disappeared, but get this. The Black Shuck immediately reappeared at the Holy Trinity Church in Blytheburg, which is 12 miles away, killing and injuring members of the congregation there too. All right, how can I spin this one? I know. All right, look, that man and the boy at the first church, they were probably evil. Both churches probably covered up their evilness. So, the Black Shuck got scared by lightning. If you have a dog, you know that happens. And when it happens, you can't blame them when they get scared or run around or freak out. It's lightning. It's scary, thunder and lightning. So, sure, it got a little scared. It came bursting inside because it didn't want to be outside because there's, thunder and lightning. And it goes, oh, look, an evil boy and man. Got to kill them real quick. Kills them. And then looks around and then goes, fuck, all these church people are probably shitty, evil people too. And he tears down the first church and then goes, you know what? That felt pretty good. That felt pretty good to kind of take a bite out of church. So he immediately pops in at a second church and does the same thing. Sure, that works. Not a monster. I'm still going to say not a monster yet. Alrighty, some people speculate that the black shuck is the inspiration for Arthur Conan Doyle's The Hounds of the Baskerville. Yeah, I can see that. That's the first thing I thought of when I started researching shucks. During the 19th century, there were dozens of stories in and around Norfolk of encounters with a large black dog on desolate roads or footpaths, especially near graveyards and churches. In many of the cases, though, the shuck would just vanish without a sound, leaving people unharmed. Then the eyewitnesses would go, I had a personal tragedy after that happened, so it must be the black shuck's fault. All right. I guess put two and two together. I don't think that's fair. Then in 1912, in the coastal town of Overstrand, the local man said he saw a large black dog near the cliffs. He claimed the creature appeared suddenly with eyes that glowed like coals before vanishing into thin air. Now, a short distance up the coast at Blankenley Point, a group of fishermen in the 1920s, they claimed to see a large dog walking along the beach before it disappeared in the mist. So nothing bad happened to either of them. Then the next story about a black shuck I could find is an unnamed young girl named World War II. Named World War II? No. Let's try that again. Sorry, I got a Facebook message. I'm trying to sell a bunch of crap on Facebook, and I just got a Facebook post so that threw me. I'll be honest. That threw me. Oh, it's not anything I need to go. All right, so sorry. A unnamed young girl during World War II, she claimed that a giant black dog with red eyes came in through a window, walked around her bed, stared at her for a few seconds, and then what? Ate her? No. Killed her? Ripped her to shreds? No. It just disappeared. That's it. Sounds like you had a chance to keep a dog and you blew it, little girl. If your parents walked in, they're like, where the hell did this dog come from? Well, I just came in through the window and, we got to keep the heart. No, you had a chance to keep a dog. Nothing bad apparently happened to her. It's not like they said and that girl was Adolf Hitler. Nothing bad happened to her. It just a big dog came in your window and then left. You fucked up. You could have had a pet dog. I want a pet dog. I want to pet that dog. Alrighty. Oh, no, there's more. In the 1970s, in the town of Aylmerton, 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 sure, which is a few short miles inland from Overstrand, a driver traveling through the countryside claimed to have seen a large black dog with glowing red eyes on the roadside. He said he slowed down, but as he approached, the dog vanished. Okay, that one started a bit more difficult to make an excuse for, but maybe the black shuck was a killer, but all these other people saw him. Nothing bad happened to them. I'm going to say it got spooked by thunder and lightning, and you can't blame him for killing a couple of churches filled with people. Shit happens, if you will. I bet he's a good dog the rest of the time. He's a good boy. If I see him, I'm going to pet him. That's all I know. I'm going to pet that dog. Also, if you want to hear a song about him, The Darkness did a song called Black Shuck. So you can listen to that after you listen to this whole episode. We're going to keep moving on. We take a quick swig of Dr. Pepper before I keep moving on. All righty, let's keep on moving on to New Zealand. That's right, the land of Chani, the land of Flight of the Conchords and Rhys Darby, but also the land of Taniwha. Now, I'm going to do a pronunciation search in just a second because I don't want to be blamed for saying this wrong. So here we go. You guys ready? Oh, you can't hear it probably. Say it again.
Taniwha.
There we go.
Taniwha. Taniwha.
Okay, Taniwha. They're saying Taniwha. I looked it up. Even though it's spelled Taniwha, it's a Maori word pronounced Taniwha. So what is a Taniwha? Well, that's where it gets a bit problematic right from the get-go, because the Taniwha are, quote, a creature of many forms. Their forms and characteristics vary according to the different tribal traditions. Though supernatural, in the Maori world, they are seen as part of the natural environment. The Taniwha have been described as monsters that live in deep water, or dragons that live in deep water, or reptiles that live in deep water, or reptiles that have wings and eat people. Yeah, all right. There's a ton of the stories. There's a ton of stories of the Taniwha eating people. So this one's on you, Taniwha. Look, I assume you're innocent. I'm going to take this like I'm a defense attorney. This entire episode, I'm the defense attorney for these monsters that aren't monsters. So I'm sure there's a reason for all of your killings that I'm going to talk about in a minute. But back to what they look like. They could take the shape of animals such as sharks, whales, octopuses, or even logs. Okay, look. If someone dies by a log in New Zealand, that's either just a dumb person or the start of Final Destination. That's not on the Taniwha. Your Honor, I object. Death by log is not Taniwha. Some Taniwha could even change their shapes, moving between forms. So if you're out in New Zealand and you go, whoa, look, cool, a shark. Oh, no, my God, it's an octopus. Oh, no, it's a log. Never mind, it's a log. Nope, it's back to being a whale. What you're seeing is either a Taniwha or you're high as fuck. Both male and female Taniwha have been seen. I'm assuming not in log form, because I don't know what a male log and a female log look like. They usually live in or near water, lakes, rivers, or the sea. They hide in lairs known as the Rua Taniwha, which could be deep pools, caves, or other waterways. It is said that they would kidnap women to live with them as wives, kind of like what Bigfoot does. These monsters, Kurt here, let's not call them monsters quite yet, called Taniwha, would inevitably be killed and the women returned to their families. Look, if you're a woman, like if Bigfoot kidnaps you and trying to make, like little Bigfoot babies with you, you could be rescued and you could go back to a normal life. It's just a big dude with a big foot, big dick, that kind of a thing. But if you're getting fucked by a dragon or a whale or a log or a shark and you get rescued, you're going to be fucked up for a long time, both physically and mentally. You're not going to be going right back to your husband going, oh yeah, this is just like having sex with the giant dragon. Anyhow, others were Katiaki, or protectors of tribes or sub-tribes. I don't think I said Katiaki right. I apologize. I already forgot how to say that one. Katiaki? Anyhow, it's the Taniwha. These were respected. These ones were respected. People who passed by their dens said that they would give them a charm, basically. They would leave them an offering. They were very respected by a lot of tribes. So what they would do is, if you left them an offering, in a minute I'll tell you what the offering is. Spoiler, it's a sweet potato. That in return, they would protect you. In fact, several tribes have their own guardian Taniwha. If the tribe respected the Taniwha, the creature would return the favor by saving tribespeople from drowning and warning priests of approaching enemies. And like I was saying, it is apparently customary to offer the first sweet potato of each harvest to the Taniwha. They also view the ocean as a sacred place and will punish anyone who disrespects it. Again, defense attorney time. It sounds like they're really cool people. You're cool with them. They'll be cool with you. You give them a sweet potato. They'll protect you from drowning. Don't fuck with the ocean. They won't fuck with you. They are also enforcers of the tapu. Tapu, which is a kind of spiritual concept or tradition that is hard to find. It's hard to find like definite things about it, but it's a tradition to, again, like you be cool with the universe will be cool with you. So if people committed like religious or spiritual taboos, the Tanifa would punish them. Like I'm saying, Tanifa seem to harm evil people. I'm on board with them. Despite their overwhelming power, it is said, the Tanifa are not undefeatable. Basically, they can be killed. There are a ton of stories of Tanifa killing or eating humans and then being hunted and slain by the people, basically the tribes, in retaliation. One such story is about a Tanifa called Hotupuku, who is killed by a group of brave Maori warriors. When the men cut open its carcass, numerous human bodies spilled out, still alive and undigested, because they've only been recently swallowed, basically. Basically, look, a bunch of people that probably committed freaky religious or spiritual taboos were cut out and saved by dumb humans because the Tanifa was trying to, punish them. So that's what I'm reading on this. That's what I'm getting out of this. Tanifa seem totally cool. I'm down with the Tanifa. The commonly held belief is these creatures are basically benevolent. But if you anger them or disrespect them, they can be dangerous. Now, there are some conflicting sites that I found, or things on sites that I found, that say that the Tanifa formed alliances with certain tribes, and so they were cool with that tribe, but if another tribe came up unknowingly to, fight this other tribe, they'd be like, oh, nope, and then Tanifa would wipe them out. Tanifa is not to be fucked with. I did find this. I thought this was kind of cool. In 2002, work on a road in the Waikato region, I'm sure that's not right, south of Auckland, New Zealand, was halted because locals say that was where Tanifa lived. So Maoris were like, no, you can't build your road there. Tanifa lived there. It got a lot of news, a lot of press. Some people were like, yay, protect the Tanifa. And other people were like, oh, this is bullshit. Fuck off, indigenous people. But the stretch of the road, apparently, grain of salt this, from what I can find, this stretch of road that was eventually built has a high death rate, and the local Maori people blame the Tanifa for all the deaths. Not blame, you fucking built a road on its place, its area. They warned you not to do it. There is also a song about them called I'm a Tanifa by the J Geeks. Listen to that after this episode. But, again, I really think that don't be a dick to them, and they won't be a dick to you is the message of this entire episode. Tanifa, you're cool. As far as I'm concerned, you're cool. If I come down to New Zealand finally, or over and down, because that's one of the places I'd love to visit, the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to go to a grocery store, I'm going to buy a sweet potato, or taro, they said, and I'm going to, I don't know, do I just put it on the ground and say, this is for you, Tanifa? Do I find somebody who I think's a Tanifa and hand it to them? I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy as many sweet potatoes as I can find, and just start handing them out throughout New Zealand. Just in case one of the people I hand them to is a Tanifa, then, they'll be cool with me. And if they're not, you get a free sweet potato. New Zealanders, they seem like they're cool people. I think they'd be fine. Look, if I gave Chani a sweet potato, I don't think Chani would be like, I used to like Kurt and Paranormal Almanac, but now he gave me a sweet potato. This dude's a fucking weirdo. I think they'd be cool. I'm going to say, oh God, not yet. I'm going to say, Tanifa, you're cool with me. I'll be cool with you. You're cool as far as I'm concerned. All righty, we got to keep moving on, though. Let's move on to this next one. Again, I have to get a proper pronunciation. And there was a lot of people that gave me pronunciations for this next one. And frankly, they fucked it up probably as much as I would had I... Well, here's what I would say had I not looked it up. Here's how I would say what this next one is. It's called a Doberchew. That's right, a Doberchew. Now let's hear how we pronounce it correctly. It's not Doberchew, I can tell you that. All right. All right, here we go.
Since the 1600s, there have been written accounts of the Dowerchu.
See that? Dowerchu. The Dowerchu. That's right, the Dowerchu. Not the Doberchew, the Dowerchu. So what is a Dowerchu? I'm just going to call it the Dowerchu. I can't do that too much. Makes me sound like I'm spitting on my mic. All right, a dowercue it resembles both a dog and an otter, basically, but it's huge. It's about 7 feet long, about the size of a crocodile, sometimes described as half dog, half fish. This thing's been talked about since like the 1600s, as far as I can find. It's also known as the Irish crocodile. It lives deep in waters of a lake, a river, or even the sea. It's known to be able to travel great distances in water or on land. It's known for its speed, aggression. This one's going to be kind of hard for me to figure out a spin on. It's known for its speed, aggression, and its appetite for human flesh. Okay, that seems bad. Let's find out, though. So, the first one that I could really find with a name, we go back to 1722, when Grace McLaughlin, she's locally known as Grace Connolly, her maiden name. She lived in the townland of Creveely at the northeast corner of Glenid Loch. Now, one morning, so she gets up, she goes down to the loch to wash some clothes. Some say her husband, Terence, he ran to the shore after hearing her scream, but others say, no. He went down to the shore because she just failed to return. She never came back from doing laundry. Either way, it doesn't end well for Grace. But he gets down to the shore, and he finds her mutilated body with the dodarcue sleeping on top of her. That's right, the dodarcue sleeping on top of her. So he runs back home and grabs a dagger. Look, this thing's the size of a crocodile. A, get it the fuck off of your mangled, bloodied wife. B, get something bigger than a dagger, dude. But he says nope, he returns and he kills the dodarcue. It says, as the beast died, it let out a whistling yell to its mate, who rose from the loch. The second beast started chasing Terence from the loch. So Terence is like, I got a dagger. I already killed one of you fuckers. He kills that one too. So he kills them both. This was recorded by Miss Walkington in the 1896 edition of the Journal of Royal Society of Antiquaries of Ireland. She describes the thing that she saw as being half wolf dog and half fish. So all these people started writing to her and saying, hey, I've seen that freaking thing too. It's called a dodarcue, and it's the king of all lakes and the father of all otters. So, yeah, it doesn't start out well. It sounds like it tried to eat or definitely killed Grace. Let's keep going. So the creature's believed to live in many lakes around Ireland. Srarin Lake, Srahin Loch, Achill Island, I can't be how you pronounce it, Achill Island, I'm assuming, and in County Mayo, where the largest number of unsubstantiated sightings in Ireland have been made in County Mayo. Apparently, there is a small population of these things that live in that loch. But people say, locals say, they're not there all the time. So they must go somewhere and then come back to the loch when the weather gets better. In 2000, there was an Irish artist named Sean Cochran and his wife. They had a sighting of the dodarcue in a lake on the Omi Island in Connemara, County Galway. He said it was dark, large, with orange flippers. He said the creature swam the width of the lake from west to east in what seemed like a matter of a few seconds before it finally leapt onto a huge boulder. And before it disappeared, he said it gave one of the most haunting screeches he's ever heard. All right. I mean, it sounds like it'd be cool. I like dogs. I like otters. I want to meet an otter dog. I mean, I don't know what Grace did to it. Who knows what she did? Maybe she pissed him off. Maybe she was putting like soap or bleach or something in the loch, and it's like, hey man, that hurts, and then stopped her, had to kill her. Maybe she's just a bitch. Maybe she threw a rock and hit it. You don't know what happened to Grace. She's not innocent. Fuck around and find out, Grace, is what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know. I really can't defend that one. That one seems like it's just out to kill people. And frankly, you know what? Deservedly so. You know what? Actually, let's leave it there. I'm gonna say that's the end of this episode. I do have a lot more creatures. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I should do one more. Should I do one more? Trying to decide. Yeah, you know what? I'll do one more. I'm going to balance it out. Yeah, you know what? We'll do one more. I'm going to do one more, even though I'm over an hour. I don't want to end it just yet. I've got a bunch more to do, but I'll do one more for you kids because it's Christmas. I've given enough love to dogs or dog-type creatures. So let's get one cat in here to kind of even it out and finish up this episode. It's called the Mingwa or the Nunda. Now, Mingwa is Swahili for strange one. Nunda is Swahili for fierce animal, cruel man, or something heavy. So there you go. There's a fancy word that you can use for a lot of different things. A Nunda. If you ever see a fierce animal, you can go, that thing's a Nunda. You ever see a dickhead asshole guy? You can be like, that guy's a Nunda. Or if there's something like, hey, honey, can you help me carry this? And you can be like, this shit's Nunda. There you go. That's my gift from me to you. If you want to take anything away from it, it's that. So we go to Africa, mostly Tanzania. That's where local native tribes have talked about the Mingwa for as far back as people have talked. In fact, it's actually mentioned a Swahili song from the year 1150, which also mentions the lion, Simba, the leopard, Nsui, and the Mingwa. The reason I'm bringing this part up is it goes back to 1150, and the locals, when they're singing, the local tribes people, when they're singing this song, say they know what a lion is, they know what a leopard is, and this Mingwa is a third different cat. It's different. So when people say, oh, Mingwa is just a misidentified lion, bullshit. So as far back as 1150, the natives are saying, nah, we know what all those things are. So what is it, though? What is a Mingwa? Well, a Mingwa is a large gray man-eating cat with dark gray fur with brindled stripes. Kind of like a tabby cat, but way big, like bigger than a lion big. The natives say it's stronger than a lion, deadlier than a leopard. They say it moves silently, comes out to kill humans, and then disappears. This is going to be another one that's hard for me to kind of justify. It seems like that's all the Mingwa wants to do. Mingwa is said to be as big as one of the biggest lions, and everything I can find, say, the locals or natives, again, it's very important. I want this put out there because a lot of people dispute this or dismiss this one immediately saying, oh, it's just a cat, it's just a leopard, it's just a lion. No, every local or native say Mingwa is different from a lion and a leopard. Its tracks are said to resemble a leopard's, but they're the size of a lion's. According to some eyewitnesses, it purrs only. It never roars. Look, again, I want to pet it. Find me a Mingwa. I want to pet one. The Mingwa, or Nunda, also appear in the traditional Swahili folktale, the Sultan Majnun. In this tale, a cat belonging to the Sultan begins killing domestic animals and eventually people, including 3 of the Sultan's sons. So he's like, crap, we can't have that. And he's like, oh my God. And he says it turned into a Nunda. Was a cat. They don't really say what kind of cat. It could have been a leopard. It could have been a lion. It could have been, like a small house cat. But it turned into a Nunda. Now the 4th son hunts down the Nunda and, after killing a dog, 2 types of civets, a zebra, a giraffe, a rhinoceros, an elephant. Look, either he's a shitty person or a shitty hunter. He said after he killed all of those things while trying to kill a Nunda, he's led by his slaves. Kurt here, he's a shitty person. Got it. So he's led by his slaves to the animal, which is asleep under a tree. He says the size of a donkey with brindled fur, huge claws, and enormous teeth. So, of course, tough guy kills it while it sleeps. I don't care that it killed 2 of your brothers, 3 of your brothers, and domestic animals. Like that part, I'm not cool with. But you don't kill something while it sleeps. Be a man. Then we cut to the early 1900s. That's when British official Captain William Hitchens, he saw and wrote about the mangled bodies of several natives that were said to have been attacked by the Mingwa, and the victims were found clutching tufts of gray fur in their hands. This is supposedly a very, very big thing. Apparently in Tanzania, there's nothing with gray fur because every story I could find, it's really big about the fact and there's gray fur. And they found gray fur. So apparently that's a big deal. But yeah, so a bunch of mangled natives were all found with tufts of gray fur in their hands. Native hunters who regularly chased lions were said to be frightened to even pursue the Mingwa. So they were like, yep, you go on your own, white man. We don't fuck off. You can do you. We mess with lions. We're not messing with the Mingwa. So he reported that he took some of that gray matted fur to the headquarters to be identified. It was said to be, quote, a fur and not a hair, as you state, probably a cat. And that's all they could find about it. Now, where's that fur, you might be asking? Because that's what I asked. No idea. Apparently, it just up and disappeared, which sucks because they could do DNA on it now, but whatever. Anyhow, that British official, Captain Hitchens, he wrote that the attacks had begun again. The mangled bodies of several more natives seemed to have been killed by the Mingwa. He said that not long ago, a man was brought to me at Michinga on a litter and terribly mauled by some great beast. He said it was a Mingwa. One well-known hunting song tells of the Simba. Oh, I already read this. It's basically what he's about to tell you, the same thing. He's basically about to say, he asked them, are you sure it wasn't a lion? They said, no, we know what a lion looks like. You sure it wasn't a leopard? No, we know what a leopard looks like. It was a Mingwa. Boom, he died. Alrighty, then, in 1938, the British tried unsuccessfully to kill one and wrote about their attempts in the British scientific journal Discovery. Then we get to a huge grain of salt story. I say it's huge because everything about this next hunter I'm about to talk to you about only leads to the same regurgitated story of the Mingwa online, but here we go. The next story first appeared in Frank W. Lane's 1954 issue of Nature Parade about Patrick Bowen, who is said to be a hunter that had tracked the Mingwa. Anything you ever look up about Patrick Bowen will either be about random Patrick Bowens that are, alive on Facebook and LinkedIn and bullshit like that. But if you type in Mingwa Patrick Bowen, the only thing you were going to find is this story a billion times. Patrick Bowen said a Mingwa had carried off a young boy and that he and another man followed the tracks of the animal. The spoor we were following appeared to be that of a leopard as large as the largest lions. Spoor, he's talking poop? What is he talking about? Hold on, I want to look that up. What the hell is he talking about? What is spoor? The track or scent of an animal. Oh, so it's the footprints. All right, yeah. So, yeah, he's basically saying the footprints were that of a leopard, but larger than a largest lion. He also noted that it was possible that some of the attacks attributed to the chemosit or Nandi bear were the work of the Mingwa, but that's about it. I can't prove that Patrick Bowen existed or any of this ever happened. I can't find the 1954 issue of Nature Parade to find out, is Frank W. Lane a real dude? Is he prone to make fun, cryptid stories? Are they made up? Are they, fantastic tales? Or are they legit? So I don't know. I can't find anything about him. But let's continue on with the Mingwa. I want to wrap this one up. Bernard Heuvelman, in his book On the Track of Unknown Animals, he suggests the theory that the Mingwa may be an abnormally colored specimen of some known species. He later said in a 1986 cryptozoology article, he said that it might be a larger subspecies of the golden cat. Basically, he came to the conclusion that the Mingwa is a relic, possibly saber-toothed cat called Macharodus. Sure, why not? Which is the genus name for some 20 known species of saber-toothed tigers, the various versions of saber-toothed tigers. He said that some of them had not like, like when you picture a saber-tooth tiger, you're picturing that long, like 6-inch long, large front teeth or, canine teeth that come out on either side. Some of them didn't have that. They looked more like a lion nowadays, but were different and obviously bigger and obviously, apparently, gray fur. But they did say that, yeah, there was that Macherdis or whatever. The remains had been found in Tanzania, but he doesn't really clearly say, is it like fossilized remains or is it like the remains of a dead cat, a dead Mingwa? Did they actually find a Mingwa body? But they said that he thinks that the species has since disappeared. It was probably like, down to the last few species or last few examples of the creature. And then it just kind of passed away. It was like thinning out the herd, basically. It was down to the last few, and they're probably gone by now. So that's 1986. I haven't found any Mingwa attacks that happened since 1986. Maybe. I mean, it's very possible. There's a lot of species that died out way later than we think they did. And there could have been just a couple of random Mingwas still left around that are basically some kind of descendant from a saber-toothed tiger. Alrighty, famous Polish author Henryk Sienkiewicz in 1911, he wrote a novel that was set in Africa about two kids getting kidnapped by human traffickers and then escaping and trying to get back to their families with the help of a native. It's basically just a normal, boring story, but one of the encounters that the two kids have was with an animal named a wobo, W-O-B-O, that's said to look like a giant, almost lion-sized cat with gray skin and dots on his body. That is interesting. Apparently, this guy knew nothing about the Mingwa and wrote about this wobo. And he says the wobo, or Mendelit in Tigray, is a cryptid cat reported from Ethiopia. It's described as being larger than a lion with yellowish brown or brownish gray fur and black stripes. It's said to live in Rocky Mountains. It's so basically the natives talk about the wobo in Ethiopia like it's a normal thing, kind of like what the Mingwa people are doing in Tanzania. So a lot of people are wondering, is the wobo a variety of leopard? Is it a hybrid of a lion and a leopard? Is it some other species that seems to be the same thing as a Mingwa? And sure, that was in 1911, but it does sound like the Mingwa are more than just in one area. It sounds like they're in a lot of areas, and they might be still around. So it's a cat. Kurt here, go get a laser pointer and some catnip. Maybe, if you're lucky, it'll pick you as their owner instead of their dinner. And then you get a freaking cat. All in all, I gotta say, sure, there's some things that are eating some people, but it seems like the majority of the people being eaten are bad people. So win freaking win. We need to thin the herd on the people and let these cryptids, herds get wider and bigger. I have no problem with big, cool, crazy, cool creatures that are killing bad people. And if you happen to be related to any of these people that were killed and you're going like, well, my great-great-uncle, he wasn't a dick. Yeah, he was. Your great-great-uncle was a dick. I'm sorry to break it to you at Christmas time. It's the holidays, but maybe he was. And I'm glad that a cryptid killed him. Don't go fucking shooting any of the things on this list is what I'm saying. What do you guys think? Which one do you think is the most realistic to be alive? Honestly, I could see a Mingwa or the wobo. It's just a different form of large cat. We know large cats exist, even in England. That's been proven. An otter dog? I mean, it could be just a big otter. So sure, big otters, I hope they exist. Otters are damn cute. Most of these are just big dogs. Let the big dogs be big dogs. All righty, once again, I'm your host, Kurt Sandvik, and this has been another holiday edition of Paranormal Almanac. Stay tuned, patrons. Your episode is going to be recorded in just a moment. I'm going to forget about stuff. Yeah, I got over here. I got the well. Snummy weeds. Yeah, snummy. So,